Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. In the section of Psalm 119 labeled Heth, we have the psalmist frame of mind really brought forth before us. Here the psalmist is really showing that he was more focused on God's desire than his own. As you go through and you look at how these various verses are worded, you can see that he's very much focused on God's desire. In verse 58, he mentions your word. In verse 59, your testimonies. In verse 60, your commandments. 61, your law. 62, your righteous ordinances. Then in verse 63, your precepts. And then verse 64, your statutes. So time and time again, the psalmist is showing that his attention was on God's desire, on God's word, God's testimonies, God's commandments, God's law, God's righteous ordinances, God's precepts, and his statutes, which really shows us a good example of what it means to really be focused on God's desire above our own. Oftentimes we want to follow after our own precepts and our own ordinances and our own desires and how we think things should go. And it's very easy for us to become self-centered, self-focused, even when it comes to the spiritual life. And so we could probably analyze and think about, what do our prayers mainly consist of? Us trying to get God to be in line with our desires and what we want, or in us seeking the Lord's heart and the Lord's desire and what he wants? Here the psalmist truly wanted to follow after the will of God, after the desire of God, and that should be something exemplified in our own lives. So let's think about that today as we do our reading. Let's focus on, or pay attention to, what our true focus is. Are we really focused on getting our own objectives met and our own desires met? Or are we really seeking after the desires of the Lord and following after his word, following after his testimonies, his commandments, his precepts, his ordinances, and all these things mentioned in this section of Psalm 119? Hopefully, as we read God's word, we'll have more and more desire to follow after God's will and less desire to follow after our own. So these are some things we can reflect on and think about as we do reading today. With that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.